I'd like to share with you how we went from an office in Sydney to a remote company with now over 50 employees. And this has been quite a journey for us as myself, as a business owner, going from literally driving to the office every day, or even when I lived close enough to the office, I would walk to the office, and that was great work-life balance. But being stuck to a particular location meant that as soon as I traveled, I was away from my employees. As soon as I had a customer who wanted to meet with me, it would always be, by default to meet in the office. And when the shift happened and I actually changed from not having to be location dependent, I was able to travel the world. I've been able to live wherever I want to live. I could literally pick up and go and, buy a plane ticket that weekend and go somewhere new and explore somewhere and have that sense of freedom that life is on my terms and the place that I choose to live and choose to work is on my terms, while still able to run a successful business and look after our customers and keep them happy as well. Now, for me, this was absolutely life-changing, and I don't know that this is the kind of life that absolutely everybody wants. And sure, if you are a podiatrist and you are the one who actually needs to work with people's feet, then this might not be the kind of business that you can do yourself. But I believe that everyone can move the needle just a little bit to a little bit more freedom. And that's what I'm going to do my best to share with you in this presentation. So if you don't know who we are itGenius, and we're a small and medium business consulting firm. And primarily we work with consulting around technology. And so what our mission is to really help small businesses play a bigger game by getting the right technology strategy in place, which means that you can grow and scale, have more flexibility, have more profit, have more money, have more options, and for you, the entrepreneur, live the life of your dreams. And we've worked with literally thousands of business owners, tens of thousands of employees across those businesses, and we've received hundreds and hundreds of five-star reviews from all of our best customers, and we want to share our messages with the world. We want to help businesses as much as possible. Now, how do we do that? Well, we take businesses through our growth roadmap, and that is whatever stage of business you're at, whether you're just starting, you don't have any employees yet, or maybe you're, you've grown up as a business and you're starting to get some structures in place. We've got different technology strategies that will work for you, different pieces of software that we think are critical for different stages of business, and a team that will help to chaperone you through the growth of your business to help make sure that your business is successful as the business grows and scales. So the first step of deciding how you want to run your business and how you want to live your life is something called lifestyle design. And that's actually literally having the thought inside yourself of, what do I want my perfect life to look like? What do I want my work-life balance to look like? How do I want to show up at work, and how do I want to actually design things so that they work for me? Now, for me, I've always been an adventurer, and I've always enjoyed being in the outdoors. I've always enjoyed a life where I can discover and learn new things. My highest value is growth, closely followed by excitement and adventure. So you can see the kind of person that I am, that I'm not really one to sit still very often. And so in starting a business, for me, that was really one ticket to freedom, and being able to be in different places in different times, being able to spontaneously go somewhere new or discover something new. Or if a friend called me and said, hey, I've got an adventure up my sleeve, do you want to join? Then I could actually do that. Now, I know that right now I don't have children or a family, but certainly where I've had partners and lovers, I've been able to explore and enjoy the best of this life. And what I do know is, for our customers, even if they're not ready to strap on a backpack and completely vagabond around the world with one-way tickets, I've had emails from customers who've said to me, hey, because I can work remotely now, or because I can choose where I work, right now I'm sitting to you with my laptop, watching my son play cricket, and I never was able to do that before because I was chained to the office. And many business owners literally in the past had to VPN or dial into an office or travel somewhere to do their work. And so everything we do is about really lifting off those chains and allowing you to work exactly where works best for you. So my dream was to have an office with no office. And at the time when we started doing this about 6 years ago, there were really no other companies that were doing this. I mean, there were a small handful, but they were really the outliers. And so Basecamp.com was one of them. There was also an online social media management app called Buffer, and a couple of other companies that kind of started dabbling with remote teams. And the learning journey that we went along was quite profound. One of the first things that I learned was the key to managing your team remotely is to manage them as if you're in the same office together. And what does that actually mean? Well, that means that you still need to do all the same kind of fun stuff and get-togethery stuff that you would do when you're actually in a physical office. One of those things for us is actually doing events and holidays, and so this is our Halloween party that we did virtually, and this is all pre-COVID, mind you, where we got everyone together in costume and they all actually connected online. And so for us, the big thing about this is, well, what are all the different things that a business would normally have face-to-face? Well, you'd probably have like Friday night drinks together. You'll have, one-on-ones in your little meeting room where you want to check in with someone and just kind of have a personal chit chat. You also have things like your water cooler chatter, like, standing around the water cooler, just having offhand conversations. There's other things like sitting next to someone in a desk and actually just offhand hearing them maybe talking to a customer and having inspiration pop up from that. Or maybe you are spontaneously brainstorming something with a couple of colleagues in the office and someone else from another department overhears and they throw in their ideas from their perspective. These are all things that we need to find ways to replicate in a remote environment. And when the COVID pandemic hit and everyone kind of went back home and switched on Zoom and kept working the way that they'd always worked, I noticed some pretty quick problems showing up for these businesses, and people had problems with being fatigued with having so many meetings online on Zoom, and people felt isolated because they missed out on things like that chatter. So one of the things that you can do, and you absolutely should do with a remote team, is in regular intervals, get the team together. And right now, in the heat of the pandemic, it may have to be still online getting the team together, and that's totally okay. But as soon as possible, actually having physical get-togethers are absolutely magical for the team. With what we do with the team, we do most of these online now. We've had to for the last 18 months. But before everything switched to having to do these online, we actually fly everyone into the one city. We spend a couple of nights together. We play some KTV. We get drunk together. We have meals together, and we spend plenty of non-work time just socializing with each other. When you open up your talent pool to not all being in the same city or the same location, you actually open up to literally everyone in the world. And for us, we used to hire just in one city in the Philippines because we were looking at congregating everyone potentially in one office. And a friend of mine said something interesting to me in that in a city of 1 million people and a country of 100 million people, you're literally restricting your talent to 1% of the population. And so broadening your horizons and allowing your employees to work from different locations is going to be amazing for your business. So what about the other stuff? Things like the water cooler and things like the chit chat that needs to happen with your business. Well, one of the things that you can do is to actually set up a water cooler thread. And we've done that inside our Google Chat. It's just a room set up inside Google Chat. And in that water cooler thread, everybody is able to chit chat. They share memes, they share GIFs, they share funny stuff throughout the day. They share stuff at home that they're proud of. Someone just got a new graphics card for their computer. Someone just got a new puppy. That all gets shared in the water cooler thread. And that's basically our place for our day-to-day socializing, connecting with everybody there. The other thing that we love to do is to connect everybody in co-working sessions. And so if you're working with a team where if you were side by side in an office, you would usually have that kind of day-to-day chatter of working together. We'll schedule extended sessions just on a Google Meet. We'll jump into the Meet and team members will be able to drop in and out as they need to and basically do a collaborative co-working. And they just kind of sit next to each other, do their individual work, but from time to time, kind of chit-chat away as they're working. And we'll do this for hours and hours at a time. And those co-working sessions allow that natural conversation to flow. You get to build the personal bonds with each other, and you get to really, really connect with each other. So I'd like to share with you a couple of tips now on how I scaled a business from just a couple of employees to now over 50 employees. Some of your biggest superpowers that you need to learn and hone the skills of as a CEO is number one, to value your time. And valuing your time is challenging to do, mostly because of the element of actually giving up control when you need to delegate. But that's the number one skill for a business owner to scale a business. You need to be the person who is designing and tweaking the machine, not taking on all of the responsibility for the whole business. And I've seen businesses where the business owner refuses to delegate, and it's basically one business owner as the heart of the business, and they've got like 20 assistants around them. And it sucks because as soon as the business owner leaves, the business completely crumbles altogether. Or when they burn out, because they eventually do burn out, eventually the business is going to underperform because they're not there to basically hold everything up. I want you to imagine yourself as the CEO of a publicly traded company, and imagine your business is that publicly traded company. Now, a publicly traded business can have the CEO removed or ousted, or maybe you go and get another job, or you've done your 5 years and you want to move on to another challenge. the business will still survive. They'll recruit a new CEO, or maybe they promote someone from within, and the business still continues on. That's the kind of CEO that I want you to be, even if you're in a small business. So you've got to be an expert at delegating. How can we be an expert at delegating? Well, the rule of 2080. This is one of my favorite rules, and you may have seen it before in one of my other teachings, but I'm going to teach it again. Now, 2080 is one of the most important numbers for a business owner, and that's roughly the number of effective hours that you have each year for you to get your work done. And I think it equates to something like 52 weeks times 40, and I know there's holidays and ups and downs in there, but if you take 2080 as the number of hours that you have available per year, let's work out how many dollars we need to generate for each one of those hours that we're working in the business. So how do we do that? We take the total revenue that you want to earn for this year. So you take your total revenue, your goal revenue number, that's the total sales of the business, and you divide that by 2080. And you're going to get your effective hourly rate. That is your CEO hourly rate. Now, you might be working the business as a technician and actually charging out your time at less than that rate right now. And if you are, then that means it's time to hire some more people to work and earn that rate for you. Because as the CEO of the business, you are responsible for generating that much income and that much commercial benefit for every hour that you work inside the business. And hopefully you're eventually going to be working less hours than that per year, so the rate actually goes up. Now, how do we use this rate? Well, we actually use this rate to determine what tasks we should and shouldn't be doing. If you're doing any tasks right now at work or at home that are less than that hourly rate per hour, then you can move along those tasks. You can delegate, delete, or automate, as Tim Ferriss says. And so we want to delegate and move those tasks off our plate. And what that means is it frees up more time for us to be growing and scaling the business and thinking strategically about how we want the business to work. Next up, one of my favorite tools is called RescueTime. You can head along to rescuetime.com, download the free version, and install it on your computer or on your Chrome browser if you're on a Chromebook. And what RescueTime does is it actually tracks what you do all day long in minute-by-minute increments, and with that, it gives you a report at the end of the week to let you know where you spent your time. And so this is going to show you exactly where you're spending your time. And that sneaky couple of minutes that you think jumping into zero and just reconciling a couple of items are not good use of your time, you may find that you accidentally spend hours in there. I'll just update that report. I'll just read the P&L for a little bit. They're the kind of things that you want to highlight to yourself where you're spending low quality or low value time doing things, and you want to align yourself to high value tasks. That is basically the secret to business growth and business success. It's a process of delegation, taking hats off and doing higher and higher value tasks, and delegating more and more low value tasks. And there's all kinds of like psychological and ego type things that come into this. We'll talk about more of those in other videos, but these are the practicals of how to go from wherever you are now to a large scale organization. Now, is growth for growth's sake worth it? No, but what we do know is that businesses that graduate to at least 20 employees, so you have at least 20 resources in the business, those businesses have enough form and structure so the business owner can actually have a lot more freedom. And they're the businesses that reach the scale stage and are able to actually exit out of the business owner or the business founder having to do all of the day-to-day stuff. So I want to leave you with a challenge, and that is the 4-day weekend. And this is something that I've been practicing for about 3 or 4 years now, and it was taught to me by my mentor, James Schramko, and that is to schedule and bunch all of your meetings on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and try and start to have some out of office time on Fridays and Mondays. And I now have 4-day weekends, which are absolutely excellent. And the interesting thing is I'm not completely devoid of work on Fridays and Mondays. I find myself thinking strategically because I just have no responsibilities in the workplace whatsoever on Mondays or Fridays. It allows my mind to wander. And sometimes I just feel like doing my own stuff that I can enjoy my time. And other times I feel like actually, pulling some people in and working on a problem or working on something strategic and interesting for me to grow the business, which is my job as a CEO. There we go. Thank you so much for joining this presentation. If you have not already investigated our growth roadmap, head along to our YouTube channel where there are playlists for each stage of business that you are at. So whether you're a launch business, a startup business, a growth business, a scale business, or if you're off to the moon in accelerate mode, we have videos designated and designed for each stage of business that you're at. And really the aim here with our growth roadmap is to make sure that you don't miss anything important along the different stages of business growth. When you're a 2-person business, you don't need to have business dashboards with KPIs on a TV up on the wall. But if you're a 20-person business and you haven't got password security sorted out with an application like LastPass, then you're going to be in trouble. And so go through our different videos on the growth roadmap and learn what things you need to tick off at the different stages. And of course, if you're interested in some help from our team, we'll be very happy to help out with that as well. Speaking about help from our team, we have an amazing free offer for existing customers of Google Workspace, even if you signed up through a web host or through Google directly, and that is our transfer in offer. Now, we give you access to a Google Classroom with professionally recorded videos all about Google Workspace. And not only do you get access to that, but you also get access to our remote work playbook, which was an 8-video webinar series last year going open book on how we grew and scaled our business into a remote company over the course of 6 years and how we've been able to remain successful doing that. Now, inside that library, included in those videos is a set of quizzes so that you can actually train your team on how to use all the best features of Google Workspace. And those Google Workspace videos are going to help your team become competent on everything to do with the Google world. And so how to get the best out of Gmail, how to get their inbox down to 0 each day, how you can structure your Google Drive permissions correctly so you get everything set up and safe and secure so you don't ever lose any data, how someone can get the most out of Google Calendar and share their calendars properly, create team calendars, and get everyone humming along nicely. All of these are included as soon as you transfer in your licenses to itGenius. Now, what does that entail? You don't pay any extra for your Google licenses. You just put your billing through us. We're a wholesaler of Google Workspace, and so we pay Google directly, and we can give you the same price that Google gives you, but we can give you a bunch more goodies. And it doesn't stop you from getting free support from Google if you still want to get access to the Google Help Desk, but you do get some limited free support from our own professional support team and access to a few of our other tools. If you're interested in that, head along on the link below this video, or you can head straight along to itgenius.com/transfer. If you need help from our team, jump along to our chat here and our team will be willing to assist with anything that you need. Right now, we're available primarily in Australian business hours, although we have extended hours available for European customers, and we'll soon be adding US time zones as well. So look out for those in the future. If you're not yet on our mailing list, head along to our website and download one of our ebooks. You'll get access to any future announcements that we make on the email list, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.